Jurgen Klopp's record against the Big Six since his arrival is the best when it comes to head-to-heads. His Liverpool team take on Chelsea in the late game this Saturday. However, is it a bad time to face the Blues just as these two seem to be clicking? Eden Hazard looks like he's back to full fitness, and Alvaro Morata has really hit the ground running since his arrival. Let's talk Champions League, because there's been some big games again in the Champions League for the English clubs. Let's start with last night, Man United. A disappointing result, wasn't it, in Basel? A disappointing second half. Yeah,
disappointing second half. Disappointing result because you think a draw puts them into the last 16. It means that the last game against Moscow, they can maybe play out a reserve side, a youth side. It means now that they've got to put out a pretty good team.
And that is in the week of the Manchester derby as well. Manchester City, of course, already qualified after their win against Final. They've won 5 out of 5. They'll be able to rest all the players if they want to, whereas United are going to have to probably play a pretty strong team now to get the point they need.
They're going to have to play probably 70% of the players that are going to be playing in the Manchester derby, so I think that's why it was such a disappointing result. Look, it's the first defeat in the Champions League for United. Disappointment for Liverpool, 3-0 up at half-time, then conceding 3 goals in the second half against a good Sevilla side. But Man City still, I think, are our best bet at doing well in Europe.
Tottenham bounced back after defeat in the North London derby, didn't they? 2-1, and there's a bit of criticism went Dele Alli's way and Harry Kane's way. Both responding the right way. Kane scoring, Dele Alli with a couple of assists. And what about Liverpool? Great first half, poor second, a bit like Man United. 3-0 up, and it finished 3-3.
Typical Liverpool. I mean, brilliant going forward, and we'll discuss Liverpool in a bit, but brilliant going forward, exciting, can create chances, got goals in the team. But you also know if they concede one, they're fragile, they're not good in the central defence, and they've got a keeper who doesn't inspire confidence. So they can concede goals, and it's going to be their biggest Achilles heel. When they play against the big teams, they're always going to be conceding goals.
I think your brother called it as well, didn't he? On Twitter, he said this has got 3-3 written all over it at half-time, got a bit of stick, but he's turned out right.
Well, it was so open. I mean, yes, Liverpool could have probably scored 5 or 6, but Seville, even at 3-0, were creating chances. And like I say, we discuss it every week on this. Can Liverpool keep clean sheets? And they can't.
There's the headline from the game. Firm, then wobbly. Obviously, Firmino, a couple of goals for Liverpool. Mane also scored, but then they're so open at the back.
Yeah, I mean, the left-back Alberto Moreno, who didn't play at all last season, has been a regular at left-back, gives away a foul that they score from and gives away a penalty, and had a real poor evening going back to his former club, so he'll be disappointed. But it's the game of the weekend now.
Anyone who goes up against them right now feels as though they've got a chance, though, don't they? I mean, I think they've conceded 3 goals 4 times already this season.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the teams, I was thinking this morning. You see the front 6 there. That's the front 6 that could win the Premier League. But actually, the 4 defenders and the goalkeeper probably is the bottom relegation-type team in the back 4 and the keeper. So it's a team that's divided into 2. Brilliant going forward with exciting players. Probably in Salah at the moment, the signing of the season. But in defence, I mean, I just despair sometimes.
What is it with Moreno? I mean, last season he played James Milner at left-back all season. He signed a left-back in Robertson, and yet Moreno's back in the team this season.
For me, Moreno isn't good enough to play in this Liverpool team. If you want to be winning league titles or cups, I think you need... Yes, he's good going forward, but you need to be defensively good as well. He's not great 1v1. He gets caught ball watching. The ball in behind is obviously a problem to him. Look, he's got good character because he came back from what happened last season and has performed OK this season, but he's also got a mistake in him.
You touched on it. I mean, you're saying he needs to be good going forward. He doesn't really, does he?
No.
Because you've got enough quality going forward. He just needs to be solid at the back.
I can't believe that he's not played James Milner at left-back. I really can't. Someone that's got experience, he's not a left-back, but can just sit in there and actually protect Klavan, Matip, Gomez. We've spoke about last week about being a good prospect. He's almost like a third centre-back. And just allow these 6 in front to go and do what they do. They're fantastic going forward, as we'll show you.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the point. I mean, well, let's look at the front 6 because they are in terrific form, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right now, Salah and Mane in particular have been outstanding, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, the front three in particular, Salah and Mane, they're so quick. The goals that Salah has scored. Look, we said a couple of weeks ago that Mane was the most important player for Liverpool, but Salah, you see the touches that he has. He's just phenomenal.
They don't stick in one position. Yes, they start wide, don't they? Mane and Salah, but they like to drift. They like to come in off the flanks and get involved centrally as well.
Yeah, I think as a defender, playing against Salah, Mane and Firmino, the nightmare and the difficulty is that you're actually not playing 1v1 against them. You may do for one or two instances, then they go inside, they make runs diagonally inside, or they come up the right, the left, central. You're never up against them in a 1v1 situation for constant periods of the game. So it's really difficult to actually get a good game against them.
Yeah, and actually Firmino's vital to that as well, isn't he? The way he plays as well and dropping off into space all the time.
Well, I think with any good team, you need somebody that makes them tick. And I think Firmino, I know he's not an out-and-out centre-forward. I call him like a false number 9, because normally you'd have your number 9 up here, but he's not. He drops into this space, and what happens is he drops in, and when the ball comes into him, now all of a sudden you've got the runs for Mane and Salah. Salah is going wide, and Mane now has to come in and occupy the centre-back.
Well, it gives you a problem, because what happens? Who picks Firmino up? Do one of the centre-backs go and get tight? Do either of those get tight? But then it leaves that space in behind, doesn't it, for Mane and Salah to run into? Is it one of the holding midfield players that tries to get around him? But actually, they've got their own jobs to do going forward. It's really difficult, isn't it, as to who marks?
I mean, look at the space there. Look at the space between the back four of Southampton and the midfield holding position. It's just far too big, and that's where the space is.
Because of the pace of Mane and Salah, they're deeper, though, aren't they, that Southampton back four? Because they're worried about that pace in behind, aren't they?
They're worried about the space in behind. And when he drops in, Firmino, look, he plays very simply. He lays the ball off, but it's not actually him that causes the problems. It's the runs from Mane. Now look at Mane. Mane is centre-forward.
Yeah.
Cedric now thinks, where's Mane gone? He doesn't know. But the centre-backs for Southampton now are thinking, we should be marking Firmino. Firmino, again, is still in all this space.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's dropped into the space, and these two up front are almost occupying the whole back four of Southampton.
And we've hardly mentioned Salah in this little run at all, but this is where he tries to get in behind, and he's got that pace to get in behind as well. And the difficulty is who picks him up. So is it a centre-back, or is it the full-back who's marking him and travel all the way across with him or not? Who picks him up?
It's an absolute disaster for a full-back, because you've got Ryan Bertrand there, who is up against Salah, and he's obviously making that run in behind there.
They do it a lot, out to win the runs.
They do it a lot. Salah does it better than anyone I've seen. At a point now, Bertrand is saying, I'm marking Mo Salah, but there's a point where you have to pass him on to your centre-back. Now, Ryan Bertrand... He
doesn't even see him, though.
No, but look
Boots and Van Dijk don't even see him.
Look at the line of the back four, and look at Ryan Bertrand.
Well, I think Bertrand's doing the right thing. I think he has to drop because there's no pressure on the ball. If there's pressure on the ball, I think you can afford to be a bit tighter. When there's no pressure on the ball, you have to say, I'll drop off.
He has to, because of the run. The run is fantastic from Salah. Because at that point now, Salah is onside, even if Bertrand is in line with his back four.
And this comes back to your point about Firmino being the key, because he's in that space now, and he's giving the centre-backs a problem. So they haven't dropped off because they're thinking, do I go in tight to Firmino?
Exactly. And look, we can just take it forward as slow by slow. Now the centre-backs reacted. The centre-backs reacted, but still, Ryan Bertrand has to be deeper because Salah is so quick.
Yeah.
And the run still creates space in behind for Salah. And now Liverpool are on the
Firmino's reaction
and Firmino's reacting.
Pretty good as
he's
well.
Up in behind, and Liverpool pick up the ball. Again, this is the front three. And Firmino is in a centre-forward position there. He's being marked
They're
by
all set, aren't they? They're all set in their positions.
They're all set in their positions. But it's the movement he does once Liverpool get possession of the ball. And it's a kick-up field to Salah.
He's always in between centre-backs as well, isn't he? He's never up against one centre-back.
Never up against one centre-back at all. And this is fantastic centre-forward play, or false centre-forward play. Because the minute that Jordan Henderson gets the ball, the opposite movement there. And look at the space again. Firmino.
Yeah.
Van Dijk and Hoyt they can't mark anyone because they can't go in tight.
No.
They can't go in tight because of the runs.
It's actually Wijnaldum on this occasion, but he's looking to break the lines and get in behind as well.
But look at Mane again, and it's the position of Cedric. Cedric has to stay with the run of Mane, and Hoyt has to think, well, Wijnaldum's running forward now, but that wouldn't happen unless Firmino drops into that space, because all of a sudden he's occupying the thoughts of the two centre-backs, which creates the space in behind for runs like this. And we take it forward again.
But no pressure on the ball again, though.
No pressure on the ball. And Mane, ends up getting the ball, and Southampton clear.
Can you remember an attacking lineup like this?
The nearest one I could think of was Arsenal, when they had Henry, Pires, and they had Dennis Bergkamp. The interchanging of positions are the ones that kills you. When you think to yourself, well, I'm up against you today, but actually they end up interchanging the positions. This is the goal.
Well, work rate, again, isn't it? I mean, I think this is the reason why Firmino's in the team as well, ahead of Daniel Sturridge, for instance. I mean, everyone says about Daniel Sturridge being a natural finisher. Firmino, maybe not as natural in front of the goal, but the work rate, the movement, the cleverness about him, and the way he drops into positions.
He's not a natural goal scorer, and I think when he goes onto a pitch, I think his first thought isn't, I've got to score goals today, I'm a team player. And I think this is what he does so well. He gets back in, he wins the ball, and when the ball comes out to Salah, we're talking about a player here that couldn't get in a Chelsea side when Jose Mourinho bought him, and he's come to the Premier League. In the first 2 or 3 games of the season, I thought he didn't look a natural finisher. He was getting in great positions, but look at this for a goal.
He gets himself into some positions, though, doesn't he? He gets himself into the box and the danger area. Always.
And you think to yourself, of signings that have been made, value for money, I don't see a better one than Mo Salah at this moment.
Really?
No, I don't. I mean, you think Morata, you think Lukaku, you think Harry Maguire was a good signing for Leicester City. But in terms of what he's produced so far, I think Mo Salah, for the price that Liverpool paid, there is nobody better.
Well, he's top scorer in the Premier League right now. I mean, it's a great start to life at Liverpool for Mo Salah. 9 goals. A couple of new signings as well. Lukaku and Morata, they're both delivering. 8 goals each. Lacazette, another one for Arsenal. But in terms of value, I mean, Richarlison maybe at Watford has done really well.
Value for money. But you're talking about Lacazette, Morata, Lukaku there, who are centre-forwards, out-and-out centre-forwards, who you'd think would probably get the first option on the goal in a game. Mo Salah is a wide right player or a wide left player.
Also too Sterling and Sane, I guess, as well.
But they're playing in a team that they're scoring goals for fun. I'm talking about signings. I think Mo Salah, I can't see anyone better. He went to Roma, he's come back a good player. The speed in which he plays and the runs he makes inside the fullback, I think make him one of the signings.
Are you surprised at how he's hit the ground running as well? I mean, sometimes people say it's difficult when you come to a new league, a new environment, a new club, and yet he just seems to be fitting in perfectly.
I think what's helped him is the fact that Mane's playing on the other side. It's not just one problem that a team has to eradicate, it's 2. I think a lot of focus, obviously, is on Sadio Mane, because everyone thought he's the key player for Liverpool. We've said it on this programme, but he's just drifted in and actually took everyone by surprise. And he's got 9 goals there. I think that could easily be 13, 14 with the chances that he's missed.
Without that, do you think the bad experience at Chelsea has inspired him? Helped him, if you like, the fact he's been in England before?
Yeah, he understands what English football is about. Going to Italian football, where it is 1v1 defending, where you are up against people that will man-mark you, I think it may have toughened him up, and he's come back. And like I say, Liverpool with Firmino, Mane and Salah and Coutinho and Lallana, that devastating going forward.
He's another one that Jose Mourinho got rid of, isn't he, I suppose? When you look back as well, Kevin De Bruyne, Lukaku. So he's one that maybe Mourinho got wrong as well.
Yeah, well, he probably just wasn't ready at that Chelsea side. Does he do the defensive work that Mourinho likes? Probably not. But I think what Jurgen Klopp's getting out of him, he's getting goals out of him, which is important.
Yeah. Now, that front three's been brilliant. Salah, Mane and Firmino. But you need someone to be able to provide the ammunition as well. And Coutinho, since he's dropped into that deeper position, has really provided that, hasn't he?
Well, people say, you know, Firmino is the key man. The runs of Salah and Mane are brilliant. But you know what? If you put Wijnaldum, Chan and Henderson in that midfield, they don't see the run and they can't make the pass. I think with this man, Coutinho, he can see the run and he can see the pass. And I think playing in the deeper position, because don't forget that, you know, Barcelona wanted to buy this player, and at times Coutinho has been wide left or wide right, and I don't think that's his best
position.
But
they weren't buying him to replace, say, Neymar, were they? They were buying him to replace an Iniesta or someone, maybe, weren't they?
They were buying him to play in central areas.
Yeah. Just take this back again. I'm just going to take this back again because it's another, again, from Salah. We just highlight Salah, that out-to-in run again. He's looking to get in behind this back players again. And he makes the run simply because he knows. As you quite rightly say, Coutinho can find him. He's got that ability, even though he's closely marked.
When Robin van Persie signed for Manchester United, he went 2 or 3 games.
He actually doesn't play the pass.
Yeah, he went 2 or 3 games early on without scoring, and Sir Alex Ferguson got the team in and said, "You're not seeing the runs that he's making." With Coutinho, he sees the runs and he can deliver the pass. It. And that's the key thing. He does things simple at times, but he's got the ability to play the pass that matters. And in this game, look at the position he's taking up there. Look at the space.
How much space has he got?
The space there in midfield. I mean, it's crazy from Southampton to leave Firmino and Coutinho in space. But when you're in positions like it says, oh, it looks easy, but he makes it look easy because he's got great composure and the ability to do something like that.
He's got quality from distance as well. He's scored a lot of goals, hasn't he, from outside the box?
Look, he's in central midfield play now. I think you want Coutinho in central midfield to dictate. Jordan Henderson is a good player, but he cannot make the passes that matter.
They work well together.
They balance each other out.
He's got the energy, hasn't he?
I mean, look at that pass. It looks simple, but it makes it look effective. It's a difficult pass with the outside of his right foot.
But the movement helps. I mean, when you've got Mane and Salah making those runs, it does help, doesn't it?
You have to have the movement. I mean, you have to have the movement. But, like I say, when he gets the ball there now, there's not much on.
Well, what is on?
Well, you've got Salah there who eventually scores the goal. But apart from that, there's not much on.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this position from Mane is really important as well because it gives Cedric a problem. He can't stay in alongside Van Dijk. He's got to try and get out, hasn't he, now? He's got to be aware of that pass out wide to Mane, and it leaves a bit of a gap. It also, the position of Firmino, we've talked about it quite a lot already, the way he drops into deeper areas, gives the centre-backs a problem. Do they go in and get tight? They're both thinking about it. Van Dijk's on the front foot. Van Dijk's on the front foot thinking, I need someone to mark. Who am I marking? Who's my job? He's thinking it's Firmino, but he's getting dragged out of an area now.
Do you know, you talk about the best midfield players in the world football. The best midfield players, let's say the worst midfield players, say me and you. Me and you are looking to play safe. We're looking to play safe there and square.
I might try and find Mane, possibly.
The best players are looking for that pass there. And this is what Coutinho does. And I think it's best doing this slowly because he sees the run. The run from Salah means he's got to play the pass.
Right, who picks him up? This is the question again I ask you, because this is Chelsea centre-backs now.
Yeah.
Okay, so they play with a 3, so it's slightly different than up against a 4. But who follows that run? Well, is it the left-sided centre-back? Does he pass him on to the central centre-back? Is it the wing-back? Who actually picks Salah up?
I think in this situation, I think both have got to drop. I think both have got to say, well, we've got Coutinho on the ball, let's just give ourselves 2 or 3 yards and not allow, like we're just going to see, that pass into there.
The space has opened up, hasn't it? Because Van Dijk's made that decision now. He's decided he's going to go in on.
Which is poor defending.
And Cedric's been drawn out to Mane. So that's why the space has opened up, because of the movement, which has been good movement. But I think the centre-back who has to track that run of Salah.
But we're praising Coutinho at the moment. You've still got to be able to play this ball with the outside of your foot, like this, outside of the right foot. And
into
look,
his path.
He didn't even break his stride. Hoyt's looking for offside. And it's just a brilliant, brilliant goal. And you think to yourself, where do you want Coutinho on the pitch? You want him central.
Yeah, like this. And it's a good job he scored from this, because this was his last touch. He was coming off prior to this goal anyway. He'd been so important to Liverpool's performance against Southampton, but he gets himself on the score sheet as well.
Look, he's important because when you've got great players in front of you that can make good runs, you need somebody to be able to find that run. And I think that's why Jurgen Klopp's put him back into a midfield 3 now. He's got good balance with Wijnaldum and Jordan Henderson, but he is the icing on the top of the cake that can make the pass.
There's an embarrassment of riches going forward, isn't there, at Anfield this weekend? We talked about these 3, Mane, Firmino, Salah and Coutinho in behind. But Morata and Hazard, there seems to be a bit of combination between these 2 now.
Well, there is because...
He's playing actually more here, isn't he? Playing more, essentially, really.
Yeah, I mean, in last season's Championship winning team, it was a front 3.
It was like that.
I mean, we got William in today. It could be William or Pedro, and Diego Costa it was, and Hazard. This year, he's changed it. He's brought Bakayoko in. And I think this change has meant that they've got a 3 now in midfield, which I think's made them a little bit more solid, but it's got Hazard more central, which I think is very important, because I think he wants to be the main man now.
And combination between those 2 as well.
And what they do, these 2, they play well together. They look to pass to each other. They look to connect together. And at the moment, Premier League defences are finding it very difficult because of moments like this. It's not as if they're coming from other angles, but they're linking so well together. They have a good understanding, and they're both scoring goals.
He's clever, isn't he, Morata, in terms of his touch, his movement, his ability on the ball. And How do we compare him to, say, Diego Costa from last season?
Well, I think if you're talking technically, I think Morata's better technically. If you're asking me which player I would like to play against more, I'd say I probably prefer to play against Morata, because Costa, you never knew what he was going to get. He had a little bit of nasty streak.
Like, he could pinch you,
but what I would say,
you, get in your face.
I think Morata will score more goals, because I think he's a better finisher. Yeah, I think he's a more clinical finisher. I think he's a more natural finisher. And with Hazard, it's little touches.
See, it's funny, isn't it? You're saying there that you'd have probably Costa, or I hate to play against Costa, but you think Morata will score more goals?
He'll score more goals because I think his technique is better in finishing. I think he's a little bit more unselfish as well. He's more of a team player than Diego Costa.
Yeah.
I think he brings players into the game a lot more. I mean, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He draws Johnny Evans in, he flicks it round the corner. I'm not so sure Diego Costa has the ability to, one, make the flick, but two, see the run from Hazard. And I think that's where the combination is so special at this moment.
He likes to fight defenders, doesn't he, Diego Costa? Whereas Morata likes to just sort of drop off into a bit more space, really.
I think he needs people around him, Morata, where Costa was saying, leave me up here, I'll take on the world at centre-forward, and I don't need any help, where Morata is a team player.
Well, Morata's played 11 games. If we compared him to Diego Costa, his first 11 Premier League appearances, actually, Costa got off to a blistering start, didn't he? 11 goals in those games. Creating more chances without actually getting an assist. More shots on target, better shooting accuracy, shot conversion rate was better. Morata's been involved in 12 goals, I suppose you could argue. 8 goals and 4 assists.
Well, I think that's the key. The assist.
You're saying he's more of a team player?
He's a team player. I think if he's one-on-one on goal and Hazard's in a better position, I think he'll square it to Hazard to knock in. I think that's why you see Costa. I think he was left up there on his own. I think he was left up there to fend for himself and to take on the defence on his own, where Morata, he likes people around him. And the change of system has meant that actually he's got a strike partner now. Costa never had a strike partner. He had 2 wide players and he was up there on his own. So it's a change of system. But I still think Morata is better team player for Chelsea.
And defensively, Andreas Christensen in the team as well, isn't he? Ahead of David Luiz.
Impressive. I've known him for a long time. When he first got to Chelsea, he's been out on loan. He's had to be patient. Chelsea have bought David Luiz back from Paris Saint-Germain for big money. And now he's got himself back in the team. And you know what? People say, why is he playing? I think he's a little bit more consistent than David Luiz at this moment in time. And David Luiz seems to have fallen out with Antonio Conte.
Let's hear from the man himself, Andreas Christensen, who says he's enjoying life at Stamford Bridge.
I'm very happy for for the opportunities I've got, and now I just hope that I can keep performing when I get the chance. And for me, just learning this whole system, it's a difficult job for manager, because we're new and we have to learn quite quick. So the working rate and training, I've enjoyed it, and I like being here.
Christensen poised to come on. His last Chelsea appearance was against Sunderland. That's about 2.5 years ago.
For me, it was perfect, and just doing 2 years was important. As I said, the first year you can try to learn the club a little bit more in the way they play, and you can work your way into the team and then really push in a second. And I was quite lucky that from the start I got my place in the start 11, and had the whole 2 seasons to push and perform. We always feel confident because of the players we got going into the game, and we feel confident that we can get a win. And I think we just have to keep having that mentality to we want to win no matter what. It doesn't matter how. We just want to win. I'm happy with the the chances I've got. I think I've performed well in as well as I could in the games, and I'm just glad that I'm back. And for me, I'm just try to enjoy and play football and help my teammates as good as I can.
Well, he's doing an excellent job so far, deputising, of course, for David Luiz, and a young player, a young Chelsea player, making it into the first team. We don't see that too often, do we, Phil?
No, but he has gone out on loan to play in German football in the Bundesliga. It's a tough league.
They all seem to do that, don't they, Chelsea?
They all seem to go out on loan, but when they come back, they seem to have got to get sold. But I think the key for Christensen is that when they signed him at 16, he was the boy wonder. and they invested a lot of money into him. They've obviously seen that he will develop and maybe develop late. He's a Danish international. Mourinho played him at right back in a couple of Carling Cup games, and he didn't quite suit playing there.
I was going to ask you about that. What do you think is his best position? Is it at centre back? Because I saw him play for Denmark against Ireland a couple of weeks back, and he played at right back.
Yeah. Well, I think when you're a young defender, and you're a centre-back, you've got to have the flexibility to play it right back, because there's that strength issue. Have you got the experience, and you like experience in central defence? But I think now, particularly with the back three, playing him with Cahill and Azpilicueta, two players of great experience, I think it suits him to be that middleman. You know, he's got protection either side with good experience. He's got brilliant composure. And I think he's at the age now, look, he's only 21. As a central defender, you probably don't get to your best until you're 26, 27. So as a central defender, as a young team, you've got to be patient.
Vocal enough to play in the middle of a three?
That is something that I think he needs to improve. Yeah, we're going to find out. I think what's happening at the moment with the signing of Rudiger as well, I think Antonio Conte is looking now to maybe phase out Gary Cahill, maybe David Luiz as well. And you've got Rudiger, Christensen, Azpilicueta is going to be a mainstay. You've got a new back three developing under Antonio Conte.
Good on the ball as well, isn't he?
Very composed on the ball. And I think when you're playing a back three system, you've got to have a composure.
Yeah.
When you play on the right or the left, I think you can pass it from A to B, but when you're in the middle, you need to have a composure, the confidence to take the ball and step into midfield, and he's got that.
I actually think the wider of the three have to be good on the ball as well and deliver the pass forward. I think the one in the middle has to be able to, as we've just seen there, step into midfield. I think they've got to be able to go into midfield at times.
I think the middle of the three actually has almost got to be a midfield player, because
like this.
Like this. I mean, you've got the option to play safe to Azpilicueta on the right, but no, he drives into midfield. And when he drives into midfield now and passes it off, he doesn't think, right, I'm going to go back to centre-back. He actually follows on, because Kante's dropped in and he's comfortable staying in midfield.
3 versus 2 at the back, so they're still OK at the back, aren't they?
And that's Christensen. He's the middle of the back three.
You played with Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Was he something similar to that? He used to do that as well, didn't he?
He does that. John Stones does it. When he plays in the middle of the back three now, because, one, you're protected from either side, and two, you're comfortable stepping into midfield.
He does get slightly exposed at times, doesn't he?
Yeah.
In terms of the defensive side of the game. Excellent composure on the ball. Is he strong enough yet? I think there are question marks that are going to be raised this season.
Look, he played brilliant against Manchester United, against Romelu Lukaku. I think he's one of those, as a young defender, you're always going to get asked questions. John Stones has just been through it for the last 2 or 3 seasons. He'll make the odd mistake. I think you've got to do, as a young defender, to keep learning. Yeah,
wrong side of his man. And he gets a little bit flat-footed here as well.
Yeah.
The ball into the box. Does he go for it? Does he not go for it? He's a bit caught in no man's land.
I think what he needs now, he needs 30 or 40 Premier League games under his belt. He needs to be probably battered by a couple of centre-forwards and be taught a lesson. And he needs to probably now say, right, I'm a Premier League defender now. It's different than being a Bundesliga defender. There's going to be a lot of aerial challenges, and I have to get better.
They're looking for a replacement. Well, they have been for John Terry, haven't they? And you quite rightly say maybe Gary Cahill in time as well. But he's going to learn, isn't he, from playing alongside Gary Cahill, Azpilicueta. He's only going to get better by having those two alongside him, surely.
He is, and I think the biggest way to get better is to play football. He played against Manchester United, played very well. This is another test. We've just spoke about Mane, Firmino and Salah. This is a massive test. Has he got the speed? Has he got the awareness when Salah's making them runs in that space there? Can he communicate with Gary Cahill? That is a big test for him. And playing at Anfield, I think, as a defender, is the ultimate test.
Is he going to be able to cope, do you think? I mean, where do you see this game being one? Is it that Chelsea keep out that front three of Liverpool? Or, I mean, they've got enough going forward as well, haven't they, to cause Liverpool problems as well?
Chelsea have got enough going forward. It's whether they can handle, I think, Salah, Firmino and Mane and Coutinho on the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if Bakayoko or Kante are assigned to say, right, every time he gets the ball, do not let him play. Because ultimately, these can make the runs all they want. But if you don't get the ball to them, they're not a threat. Because, you know, so he is the threat that they need to stop, Coutinho.
So get his head down.
Get his head down, stop the forward pass and protect Christensen, Azpilicueta and Gary Cahill. Because, you know what, any defender in world football on the day will be beat sometimes by the runs that these three make.
Big difference. It's at Anfield as well.
Yeah.
Their home form has been terrific this season, hasn't it?
Against the top teams especially. I mean, I think Liverpool, against the top 6 sides, particularly at Anfield, look, I think they produced some of the best performances of the season.
So, what are we saying? Draw?
Look, if I take these back 5, I think I say a Liverpool win. But with these defenders still at the back, these two centre-backs, I can only see a Chelsea victory.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't think they'll be able to cope with Morata and Hazard, because them two at the moment are the best partnership in the league.
Yeah, I think Liverpool, you're just not really sure, are you?
You just don't
what
know.
you're going to get.
You
But
don't
I'll
know.
go for a draw on that case.
You're sitting on the fence.
Right, time for a break. Sitting on the fence, that's exactly what I'm doing.